Silent Hill is a place that calls a living to its domain. It matters not if you're considered guilty or innocent by societal standards, as judgment is rained down all the same. This means you can run from your sins for as long as you desire. However, just like the shadow behind you, your past is always one step away. With the release of the Silent Hill 2 remake, we, new and old players alike, have been treated to additional scenes and details that, due to the budget and technological restraints, were not presented in the original. In today's video, I wanted to discuss the horrors of Abstract Daddy and how the remake took an already disgusting battle and turned it into something even worse. Before we dive into the battle itself, it's important to first analyze the monster known as Abstract Daddy from not only a visual reference but also its background, as without it, this battle would not be as visceral as it is. Starting with its appearance, which is disturbing to say the least, Abstract Daddy resembles two humanoid figures intertwined on a frame. Taking a closer look at the top part of Abstract Daddy, we can see two distinct heads. The head that is resting on the frame, which I will refer to as the submissive head, has no facial features outside of a large opening which resembles a mouth tightly shut near the middle of the face. There is also a zipper-like structure starting from its neck and proceeding down. The other head's overall orientation resembles a person with their face down. I say that with confidence as the back of the head has a slight curvature to it and most of its mass points down. You will notice the zipper structure once again traveling down its entirety. That detail was not put there without reason. It is also important to note the overall shape of the dominant head, as two arm-like structures are pointing down and outwards, almost as if it's grasping the submissive one. This is supported by the torso and buttocks-like structures at the end of the dominant head. Due to the way our brains work with humanoid figures, I would say that this looks like a middle to old-aged male, which lines up with its name. Taking a look at its bottom side, we can also see a set of arms that resemble dirty socks or mittens. Two legs line up perfectly with the dominant head on the upper portion of the monster, which connects both sides. Last but not least are these staples that run across the middle of the bottom side. While zippers are used in clothing, staples are commonly used in the medical field to bind tissue together. With such a big emphasis on that detail, the same can be concluded here. Those two humanoid figures are meant to be intertwined, forcibly, forever. The brilliance and horror of the human mind is our ability to connect dots with only shapes. This is why the design of this boss is terrifying, as our brains fill in the ambiguity for us. Keep in mind though, this is only what James sees. It is unknown what Angela sees, but chances are, it's far worse. Now that we have taken a closer look at the monster, let's break down the battle against it. Swiftly after James finds Angela distressed, he is immediately attacked by the monster, who shows no hesitation in its aggression. The force of its weight upon James crumbles down a weak wall behind it with ease. Sure, this wall may have been weak from the start, however, you will soon see that this action in its entirety represents much more. As the battle starts, we can see Abstract Daddy aggressively lunge and attack James through this narrow corridor. This sense of entrapment was done on purpose, as it makes the player feel like there is no place to run. Sure, you can go down the hallway, but so can the monster. This design choice makes the brawl that will take place intense and discomforting. After Abstract Daddy has sustained some damage, he runs off, giving us as a player a calm within the storm. This is the time to reload, heal, and catch your breath. But there is one detail here that cannot be overlooked, and it is the entrance to Angela's safe place in the closet. It is in here we see various newspaper clippings on the wall, and at the bottom left corner of the room lies a blanket and a bloody teddy bear. It is unknown at what age this abuse began for Angela, but I would infer that it could have been earlier than previously assumed. For the game to continue, however, we must leave it just like Angela did time and time again. While she could stay in there to hide and sleep, she also must eat, attend school, and do chores around the home. Knowing those details makes this boss cycle even more disturbing, as this is what James, who is armed with a weapon, sees. I couldn't imagine how it felt for little Angela. As the battle against Abstract Daddy continues, we are also treated to these audio recordings depicting the relationship between Angela and her father, Thomas. Take note of how manipulative he sounds towards his daughter. In one instance, he states that there is no place for her to run and how no one cares about her. As a child with no independence or understanding of the outside world, statements like that are devastating. It also gets amplified even further if that child is isolated from others, as it truly may feel that way. This type of verbal abuse by itself is enough to crush what little light a child may have had and turn them into a hollow shell. But as we all know, it was not just verbal abuse that she experienced. It was physical and sexual as well. The more damage that Abstract Daddy sustains, the more this loop continues. One moment it is eerily quiet and we can catch our breath. Then the next moment it is chaotic, violent, and relentless. It may have just been me, but I found the rhythm of his appearances to be unpredictable. Meaning, just like with Angela growing up, the abuse she would sustain at the hands of her father and brother may have had little to no warning. Abuse of any degree is horrible in itself, regardless of age, but when it's done unpredictably, it could be anxiety-inducing on top of the mental degradation of the victim. We see that very degradation happen in this fight as the hallways and rooms that were once intact become destroyed beyond repair, just like Angela's mind and body. At the peak of this battle, it ends in a flesh-colored room filled with pistons that move back and forth on the walls and the ceiling. Its symbolism is that of sexual abuse, a cold mechanical act that destroys a person in their entirety. Once defeated, we are treated to a scene of Angela using what little strength she has to exact her revenge on the monster. While this act may appear satisfying, it is anything but, as you should recall that this monster is what James saw, not Angela. Sure, it may carry some physical representations of Angela's trauma and guilt, but it is not her father or her brother. This is a great example of how the pursuit of revenge can leave a person feeling hollow even after the deed has been done. I stated that because of Angela's end at the Lakeview Hotel. While the people who have damaged her are long gone, the pain and trauma she experienced during her childhood never went away. It just simply lost its attachment.